Hey guys, welcome back. Orbam here, bringing you another one of our Digimon videos, I guess. That's really exciting. I saw you guys were just as excited as I am in the comments of that last video about the Digimon card game release. So I'm really excited about making this video. I know a lot of people ask me on my Twitch, twitch.tv/APOrbam, and on the YouTube comments to discuss the rules of this game. And I'll be glad to do that because it took me quite a bit to fully understand the rules. So I figured if I can explain it and explain the problems that I had, maybe you guys won't have those problems as well. So if you guys are excited to learn about the Digimon TCG, please drop a like and let me know what your favorite Digimon is in the comments. I see a lot of you guys are Gallimon fans, so shout out to you guys. Look at this handsome man. Let's see, is my cursor on screen now? I was trying to make my cursor is on screen. All right, cool. It's gonna be kind of important as I explain everything. So let's go ahead and first, not only are we going to talk about how to play the game, I'm also going to give you sources on how to look at both the translation of the cards, build your own decks, stuff like that. So this is going to be a pretty informative video. So we're going to start with the playmat here. This is just a playmat I found on Twitter. So I figured it did a pretty good job at explaining everything that we need to do. So let's check it out. So 50 card main deck here. This is where your main deck card go. And I'm also going to be relating a lot of these things to the Pokemon TCG because, I'm a Pokemon TCG channel. So I figured that my audience will have the best job relating to some of these things. Even though it's not the same game whatsoever, I can at least reference that. For instance, we have security cards here. You get 5 security cards. Think of them as prizes. You put the top 5 of your deck onto here. Here's a trash, discard pile, whatever you want to call it. And then this is your Digitama area. So the deck has to be 50 cards, but the Digitama deck is a 0 to 5 card deck that gives you your baby Digimon. I think they're called in training 1, in training 2, stuff like that. That's where you get Digimon. So you can once per turn raise a Digimon, aka hatch an egg, aka flip the top card of this deck over and put it on top. So, and just like in Pokemon, it's a 4 card playset. So if you have a 5 card deck, a lot of people play like 4 of the same card and then 1 of a random other card. Not really random, but obviously we'll go into that deeper as the game goes on, but as the video goes on. But I figured I want to show you guys a playmat first because this is where you put all your Digimon, all your Tamers, stuff like that, and discard pile, trash, security. To win the game, you have to get rid of all the security, main deck, stuff like that, and also memory, very important. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So we have the official manual here. We're going to be pretty meticulous with explaining the rules. I might repeat myself a lot, but this is just to make sure you guys understand all the rules. So hopefully you guys like this video. And if you guys don't like it, or if you guys don't like that I'm just kind of like going through the manual and stuff like that, there's definitely other content creators out there that have shorter and prettier, I guess, because they have animations and stuff on the screen, prettier videos, in case you guys don't understand what I'm doing. But of course you can always leave a comment and I'll try to explain in case you guys are confused about anything. So like we said earlier, this is the main Digimon cards, and these are the Digitama, the Digi-Egg cards. Once again, 5 card, 0 to 5 card deck list, and 50 card deck list right there. So this is what a Digimon card looks like. I'm going to actually zoom in here. So let's see if I can get a good zoom so you guys can see everything quite well. Perfect. That actually looks really nice. All right. So this is what a Digimon card looks like. You have a few things going on here. First things first I want to talk about is the DP, the Digimon power. This is the attacks. This is the attack strength of your Digimon. If you're going to knock out another Digimon, you have to make sure that your attack strength is higher than your opponent's attack strength. Also, this comes into play whenever you attack a security card. Now, like we mentioned earlier in the playmat, this is where your security cards go here. They are prizes. They are face down cards from the top of your deck. So when you attack a security card, which unlike Pokemon, you're not attacking a Digimon and taking a prize, right? What happens is you have to attack the security card directly. And if you attack the security card, it gets flipped face up. And if it's a Digimon card that you're attacking, you are now battling that Digimon. Now, no matter what, it will get discarded. Anytime you attack a security card, it will get discarded. But you do battle, which means that if the opponent's Digimon that was in the security pile does have higher DP than you do get knocked out. Something worth mentioning. Or you get, in this game, it's called deleted. You get deleted. So there's that. Next is the memory cost, the cost of summoning the Digimon, the summoning cost, I should say. So in Digimon, you have 3 ways to summon a Digimon. One is once per turn. As soon as you draw a card, you can choose to flip over the top card of your Digitama deck. This will summon a baby Digimon. So in the beginning of your turn, you can either flip over a card and put it here, when a Digimon is in the raising area, it cannot be attacked. It cannot be targeted or anything, right? Or you can take the Digimon that's in the raising area and you can put it in the main board, right? And if you put it in the main board, it can attack the same turn it was put on the main board. So you can only do one or the other once per turn, unless a card effect states otherwise. I'm not going to say that every time, but know that just like in any other card game, just like in any other game in general, unless a card effect says otherwise, this is the rule. And also, so what I was trying to get at is there's another way to summon Digimon, which is going to be summoning it directly onto the board from your hand. And in order to do that, you're going to have to pay memory. Now, here's the thing that was confusing me the most, but now I understand the game. This is the gimmick, or the main, I forget the word, but it's like the main gimmick of the game, right? And it's called the memory system. So in order for you to pay for this Digimon right here, you have to pay 5 cost. So 5 memory. So that means that if you have 5 memory at the start of your turn, you can pay 5 and that puts you at 0, right? Or if you have, let's say you have 2 memory, right? And you want to play that card from your hand, you can pay it and then you give your opponent's side 3 memory to start with, right? If you start with 9 memory, you can move that all the way over to 4 and you have 4 memory left to go. That's how you summon a Digimon from your hand. And then the third way to summon a Digimon is through Digivolving. So whenever you summon a Digimon from your hand, it has summoning sickness, which means that the same turn that you summon a Digimon from your hand, that Digimon cannot attack. But if you Digivolve a Digimon from a Digimon that was put into play last turn, you can still attack, right? The only way you can have summoning sickness if you play Digimon from your hand directly onto the board. But if you raise a Digimon, like we mentioned earlier, from the Digitama area, it can still attack that turn. And if you Digivolve a Digimon that was able to attack that turn, it can still attack that turn. So this is usually actually in every case, it's a lower cost to Digivolve a Digimon, as far as your memory goes, than it is to play Digimon directly from your hand onto the board. So in this case, you're only playing 2 memory, which means if you have 3 memory, you would go down to 1 memory. Or if you have 0 memory, it goes up to 2 memory on your opponent's side. All right, so there's also a cost there's also a trigger to evolve. Pretty much you Digivolve from the level lower than yours. So if you have a level 3 Digimon, you can Digivolve into this Digimon if it is red. And you can tell you can Digivolve from a specific color based off the color of the circle here. So it's asking you can't see it because it's really small, but it's asking for a level 3 Digimon to Digivolve from, a red level 3 Digimon to Digivolve from, because the circle is red. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Next, we have evolution conditions. Never mind. That's what I was just reading. Now we have effects. So Digimon have 2 places for effects. They have their main effect, which is going to be the Digimon itself has this effect. So the effects are always written on screen. There's a bunch of different effects out there, but this is where the effect of the Digimon will be written. And then they have a Digivolution effect. This is an effect that's on this Digimon here, but this Digimon cannot use this effect. This is a Digivolution effect. It's blank here, but a lot of cards will have this effect written down right there. And that means the Digimon that is Digivolved from it gets the effect. So say I have I don't know what Digivolves from this. Say a War Greymon or a Metal Greymon, sure. Let's say that I have a Metal Greymon, right? And I Digivolve into this Digimon here. If there was an effect written here, the Metal Greymon would get the effect, but the Cordamon, I think is what this Digimon is called. I'm probably wrong, but the Cordamon would not have the effect. Only the Metal Greymon would that Digivolved from it. So that is something to keep in mind. This Digimon will not get this bottom effect. Only the Digimon that is Digivolved from it will get that effect. And you know what? Just because I really want you guys to see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna type up Agumon. Agumon, there we go. All right, let's just tap up an Agumon, right? See if I can find one. Here it is, perfect. Here's an Agumon. Yeah, so you can't really see the card very well, and I'll try to fix that in a little bit. But right here is text. You can't really see my cursor either. That's weird. You can see my cursor here. And you see my cursor here, but you don't see it on this website. Which is really... Oh, no, you see it. Okay, cool. That was weird. Anyways, the Digivolution effect. This is the Digivolution effect I was talking about. See how there's text here. Boom, 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 boom. That means the Digimon that evolves from this, aka Greymon, will have the effect of this right here. But Agumon does not have that effect. It's just something I really want to reiterate because it took me a while to fully understand that. So Anyway, this is a long video. I'm just talking about the evolution effect. Everything else doesn't matter. We got level, we have rarity, all this other stuff. That doesn't really matter, but you can read this page if you're curious. All right, next we have Tamer cards. So Tamers have a memory cost to use as well. So this one costs 2 memory, and that means, once again, if you have 5 memory, you go down to 3 memory when you play this card. And then once you play down a Tamer, they are on the board and they stay on the board. And you can stack the effects of Tamers, so don't worry about like only having one of each kind of Tamer, right? So this is the main effect of the card. And now this is something that's worth mentioning. So once you play the Tamer down, you can just continuously use this effect unless stated otherwise, right? And now we have this card right here. This is the security effect. So what a security effect is that it's an effect that triggers only if the card was attacked from your security pile over here. So once again, if a Digimon attacked our security pile and a Tamer or an option card, which we'll talk about in a second, gets flipped up, the effect that is written here will trigger. That is the only time you can use the security effect is when it is attacked directly from the security pile. Otherwise, just don't disregard what this card says for the meantime, right? So yes, so in this case, usually whenever security piles of like Tamers get flipped over, the effect is usually like play this card directly onto the board without paying the cost, right? So what happens is they attack your Tamer, it gets flipped, and then it goes directly onto your board. Like I said, no matter what, every time a security card gets attacked, it will always get discarded one way or another. Even if it goes onto the board, it's essentially not going to be a security card anymore. All right, cool, we're good there. Next is an option card. Option cards are like the items of Digimon. Of Digimon, yeah, you use them and then they go to the discard pile or the deleted zone or the trash, whatever you want to call it, right? This one's pretty expensive at 8, so you are using 8 memory. So once again, if you're using 8 memory and you have 4 left, that means you are going over to your opponent's side of the memory and giving them 4 memory when using it. If you have 8 memory left, you're going down to 0, stuff like that. They have a main effect, they have a security effect, just like Tamer cards, but these are one-time use cards. All right, cool. We talked about the security pile already. We talked about the memory card already. We talked about the deck, how it's a 50 card deck. Trash is just like the discard pile. They're face up. They go whenever Digimon gets knocked out, it gets deleted, goes to the trash pile. Whenever an option card gets used, it goes to the trash pile, stuff like that. Digi-Egg decks, they are face down 5 card deck that you flip up in the nursing area. We talked about that already. Great. Moving on. Let's see. Okay. We already talked about all that stuff. You can always read it if you need to by pausing the video. Okay, let's start by setting up the game. Shuffle the deck, then you place it in the area, place on location, shuffle your Digi-Egg deck, put it down, draw 5 cards from the top of the deck, and then place them face down in the security area without looking at them first. So before you draw your hand, you put your 5 cards into the security area first. I actually didn't know that, so that's good to know. Draw 5 cards from your deck. So that's your starting hand. And then the person that goes first cannot draw a card. It's similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! If you go first, you don't draw for turn. Something to keep in mind. All right, and then you start by putting the first player, you start by putting the gauge at 0. So if you go first, you have a 0 card gauge. All right, good to know, we got it. Okay, so the game uses a memory gauge just to pay the cost of playing a card. For example, you pay 3, you would need to move your memory 3 spaces to the right. We talked about how memory works, right? Now let's talk about how the turn ends, right? It becomes your opponent's turn as soon as the memory gauge gets moved over to your opponent's side. So like I said earlier, if you wanted to play this option card right here, this 8 card option card we talked about earlier, right? And you have 4 memory left. There we go. You have 4 memory left. You move all the way over to your opponent's side. You use the effects of that card, and then your turn ends and it's your opponent's turn. So you have to be very careful about how you use your memory and how much memory you give your opponent. Because by doing that, you've given your opponent 4 memory free to work with, right? So they can use up to 4 memory before they use a 5th memory card that will go into your turn, right? So also keep in mind, if you end your turn at any given point before the memory goes to your opponent's side, say that you pass at any point of your turn, before your opponent gets a memory on their side, they start their turn with an automatic 3 memory. So it's always good to make sure that you at least use your memory before you end your turn, right? So back to what we were talking about. I have exactly 0. Okay. Memory can't exceed 10 because there's only 10 on both sides. Obviously, if you pay a 10 card, okay, all right, cool. There are some cards that have a cost of like 12 or 13, which can be done obviously if you start with 3 memory and it's a 13 card cost. You go all the way to the end, and now your opponent has 10 memory to work with, stuff like that. So active and rest state. This is important. So if a Digimon is active, your opponent cannot attack that Digimon. When you play a Digimon from your hand onto the board, it starts in an active state. Active is up and down, vertical, whatever you want to call it. So if you attack, after you attack, you go immediately into rest state. When you attack, you can either attack an opponent's Digimon, or you can attack their opponent's security pile, or if they have no security, you can attack the opposing player. It's him, herself, or herself, right? When you attack, you go into the rest state. When you're at rest state, that means an opponent's Digimon can choose to attack you. There is a state in the game called blocking. Blocking is an ability that many Digimon in this game have, and what the ability is that if your opponent is attacking your security pile, because once again, you don't have to have no Digimon on your board for your opponent to attack your security pile. Your opponent can attack your security pile at any point of the game during their main phase, right? So if they choose to attack your security pile and you have a Digimon with the ability blocking, you can put your Digimon in rest state, and now they have to attack the Digimon that has the ability blocking. And that's somewhat important information to know, because blocking is not a thing you can just do in the game. Blocking is an ability that some Digimon have in the game. Because I know that I was confused whenever they were saying performing an action such as attacking or blocking. So that's what happens. Now at the beginning of your turn, right after you either hatch a Digi-Egg or move the Digi-Egg or move the Digimon that's in this area to the active zone, you can put everything into the active position at the beginning of your turn. All right. So if you attacked with like 5 Digimon last turn, right? And they're all in the rest zone, it's your turn. At the beginning of your next turn, you can make them all active again. All right, cool. Moving on. All right. So we were talking about this just now. So actively, you do that before you draw. My bad. I was wrong. Now I know. Once again, I'm still new to this game as well. So you active all your Digimon that were in rest state. You draw a card from your hand. You draw a card from your deck to start your turn. If you can't draw a card from your deck, you lose the game. But you only lose the game during the draw phase. If you try to draw a card from your deck, but it's not the draw phase, and you don't have any cards left in your deck, you don't lose the game yet. You only lose the game at the draw phase if you can't draw any cards. Nursing phase, that's what we're just talking about. You can either hatch a Digi-Egg or move a Digi-Egg from the nursery to the board. So once again, hatch a Digi-Egg or move the Digimon that was here onto the main board. All right, cool. So that's what you do. This is called the active phase. Next, we have the main phase. Now, something that's really important to know, especially for Pokemon fans, is that you can do any of these any number of times in any order. That means if you want to start your turn by attacking, you can start your turn by attacking, do other stuff, attack again, do other stuff. You can do as much as you want. Your turn only ends once your memory has gone towards your opponent's side of the board. That's the only time your turn ends. Otherwise, you can do all these things as many times as you like. It's really cool, actually. So you can summon Digimon. Once again, use memory to summon Digimon. You can evolve Digimon. You can Digivolve Digimon as much as you like, as often as you like during your turn. Once again, it costs memory, so you are limited to how much memory you can use. But say that I play down an Agumon this turn, and now obviously that Agumon can't attack, right? But if I play an Agumon directly from my hand, I can immediately evolve it into Greymon. I still can't attack with that Digimon. Because once again, if that Digimon, no matter how many times I evolve it, it is still summoned that turn. So I can't attack with it because it's summoning sickness. But if I wanted to Digivolve my Agumon directly all the way to War Greymon, like Agumon, Greymon, Metal Greymon, War Greymon, I can do all of that on my first turn. I can do that as many times as I want during that turn. Once again, costs memory to do these things, but that's something you can do. You can summon as many Tamers as you want from your hand. You can play as many option cards from your hand onto the board. You can do all this stuff. You're only limited to your memory. So if I want to start my turn by, let's go ahead and give you an example so that it's kind of easier to understand, right? So I'm going to start my turn with whatever's on my board already, right? And I'm going to attack. Now, I attack, that puts my Digimon into rest. So now my Digimon is sideways, just like it was up here. So now my Digimon's in rest. There are cards that can make myself active. So I can choose to play a support card or an option card or whatever card effect that I have that can make this card active on that same turn. The effect is literally make your resting Digimon active, which means that I can make this card active, and then because it's active, I can attack with I can attack with this Digimon again. And then I can keep going, which will put it right back to rest. But see, one Digimon can attack as many times as it wants during the turn as long as it is active. So it's pretty handily dandly. And I guess we need to talk about, we'll talk about that in a second. So, and then your turn ends once your opponent gets memory. All right, moving on. Next part. It's a 20-minute video already. I'm gonna try to speed this up a little bit. So once again, we talked about summoning Digimon. You can summon as many Digimons from your hand to the main board as much as you want. First, place a Digimon card you want to summon into the battle area in the active state. Next, play the summoning cost. The Digimon is now summoned in the battle area. Digimon cannot attack on the turn they were summoned. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I'm repeating myself a lot like I mentioned, but if you move the Digimon from here to this position, to the main board, they can attack, because moving a Digimon from the nursing area, the raising area, to the main board is not considered summoning. They can attack that turn, so it's worth mentioning. But you cannot hatch a Digimon and put a Digimon up into the main board at the same turn. So good to know. Evolving Digimon. Now this is probably another one of the coolest things in this game, right? Every time you evolve a Digimon, you draw a card. So that's how you draw through your deck, is evolving. Players can evolve Digimon in their battle or nursing areas. I guess I haven't mentioned that yet. You can also Digivolve Digimon here. So if you start with a Komamon, I think, evolve into Agumon, Greymon, War Greymon, all that stuff, you can Digivolve as much as you want here. But once again, they can't attack or be targeted for attacks until they're on the main board. So it has some, check the evolution conditions. If you have a Digimon in play that matches the required color and level, it can evolve into the Digimon card in hand. If the card has multiple evolution conditions, the Digimon only has to satisfy one of those conditions to evolve. So like Omnimon can Digivolve from both a blue and a red Digimon, but as long as it's either a blue or a red Digimon, it can Digivolve. That's what it's trying to say. Place an evolved Digimon card from your hand to the card to meet the evolution conditions. Stack them so that any evolution base effects of the original card are visible. So if they have effects, you want to Digivolve them so they're on the board. They're on the board like this, so they're visible. After playing the evolution cost, after evolving Digimon, draw one card from the deck and add it to your hand as an evolution bonus. The card below an evolved Digimon become evolution bases. The Digivolved effects of these cards can be used after evolving. The evolution base and the evolved Digimon are treated as single Digimon. If the Digimon is deleted, all of its evolution bases are discarded as well. There are effects that can manipulate the evolution bases, the cards underneath the Digimon. So that's why it's bringing this up. But yeah, there are effects that can manipulate those cards. But once again, the Digimon that's on board is this. So if your old Digimon had an effect that Digimon could use, it can't use that effect anymore. It can only use the Digivolution effects that are in the bottom corner right over here. And obviously this Greymon cannot use his effect, because this Greymon cannot use the Digivolution effect that's on the card itself. Only the next Digimon can use his effect. And now if I were to have a Metal Greymon on top of this card, Metal Greymon would be able to use the effect here and here. So keep that in mind. Summoning Tamers. Players can summon Tamers from their hand to the battle area. First, place the Tamer card you want to summon to the battle area in an active state. Next, play the summoning cost of the Tamer card. The Tamer is now summoned on the battlefield. There is no limit to how many Tamers can be placed in the battle area, just like Digimon. Tamers cannot be attacked, and they cannot block. Something worth mentioning. You can't target a Tamer. Option cards. This is how to use the main effect of an option card in your hand. To play an option card, a player must at least have one Digimon or Tamer in play as the same color. You can't just put option cards willy-nilly into your deck. If you're playing a red deck, you have to make sure you have only red option cards. But say for whatever reason you have a yellow Tamer in a red deck, now you have the ability to play both yellow option cards and red option cards because you have a yellow Tamer on your board. You can only use option cards if there is at least a matching color on your board. Good? Be good? Okay. Now, after the option card's effect have been activated, the option card is discarded and placed in the trash pile. Okay, attacking, we talked about this earlier, but you have to make sure that you attack only a resting Digimon, and you have to make sure that your Digimon power is stronger than your opponent's Digimon power. Changing the active Digimon you want to rest state and declare your attack. Choose the target of your attack. You can either target one of your opponent's Digimon that are in rest state in the battle area, or you can target the opposing player. And by player, it's saying both security and player. Anytime you attack an opposing player, you're attacking their security, right? Now, if you have ties in your Digimon power, you both get knocked out. You both get deleted. What happens if a Digimon's DP drops to 0? Now, in this game, there are effects that can lower your opponent's Digimon's power. So if you can somehow manage to lower your opponent's Digimon power to 0, that Digimon gets deleted. It gets knocked out and goes into the discard pile. So once again, we talked about this already, but when you attack an opposing player, you have to flip over one of the security cards, and you activate the effect, or you battle the Digimon that gets flipped over. If I'm flipping over a Digimon when I'm attacking it, I am now battling this Digimon. If it knocks me out, we both go to the discard pile. If I knock it out, then it goes to the discard pile. Now, if I'm attacking a Tamer or a option card, the security effects trigger, and those security effects are usually put them in hand or on the board. Regardless, every time you attack a security card, it gets removed from the security pile. Trying to see if there's anything else worth mentioning. You can always pause and read this if you need to. If you succeed in attacking an opponent who has no security card remaining, you win the game. So that means you can attack an opponent directly. If they have no security pile, you win the game. Once again, you can do this even if your opponent has Digimon on the board. They do not have to have Digimon. They do not have to not. This is hard to say. They don't have to have Digimon on the board for you to attack them directly. You can attack them directly even if they have 10 Digimon on the board. It doesn't matter as long as you can attack. Cool. All right. So this is a bunch of like what if scenarios. So security attack +1 is another effect that Digimon have. Usually red Digimon have these effects. That means if you were to attack in a security, you get to attack the security again. So security attack +1 means if I attack, instead of getting rid of one security card, I can flip over 2 security cards. But there's always an order. I flip over one security card. The effect of that security card goes off first. Say, for instance, the effect of the security card is the battle ends, then you can't flip over the next security card. Things like that. Or like say that the security card is a Digimon that knocks me out, I don't get to flip over the second security card. So it goes in order of security cards you attack, but if I were to attack once with a Digimon that has security attack +1, then that means I get to flip over that many security and trigger all those effects until I run out of security to flip over. All right, cool. The game continues even if a player has no remaining security card. You only win the game by successfully attacking a player who has no security cards. Certain Digimon have the blocker ability. Once again, we talked about that earlier, but if your Digimon has blocker, if they try to attack a security card, you can tell them nope, and then you flip over, you rotate your card, and then they attack the Digimon that has blocker instead of the security. All right, cool. If you pass the turn, or you end your turn with 0 memory, the opposing player automatically gets 3 memory. So it gets moved over here automatically. All right, cool. At any point during a turn, the memory moves to the opponent's number 1, and the turn ends and it becomes the opponent's turn. If there are any unresolved effects, they must be resolved before changing turn. So obviously, resolve everything on the board. It doesn't just like cut and dry and it's your opponent's turn once the memory gauge goes over. You have to resolve all the effects that are on your board that you can resolve, and then it's your opponent's turn. If a player plays a cost of 5 while their memory is at 1, the memory moves over your opponent's board. Okay, we already talked about that earlier. We talked about winning the game. You either win by attacking your opponent directly, or your opponent cannot draw cards. And that's how you play the game. As far as I'm aware, that's pretty much everything you need to know about how to play the game. I hope that was pretty clear to you guys. Next, I'm going to talk to you guys about this website called DigimonCard.dev. This is a really cool website that I've been looking at. That will actually let you see the translated versions of all these cards. You can right click on any of the cards, and then right here is where the effects of the cards are. It's a little bit hard to see. I don't think I can really zoom in onto these type of websites though, at least to zoom in enough for you guys to see what's going on. What I can do, no, it's not going to work. Well, you guys can go to the website. So this is a really cool website for a lot of different reasons, mainly because you can look at the translated cards. You can go into Digimon Card, just .dev, go to the home screen, wherever this is. How do I, oh, here we go. Go to this. All right. And these are all the sets that are released right now. You can just click on the sets and it'll show you all the cards that are in the set. This is like the mini set, and then here's like the main set, and this will show you everything, and it's already translated for you. Cool. We got it. All right, cool. Looks like there's a lot of colors right now. And then of course, these are the main cards in the starter decks, which I recommend getting 2 of each starter deck because they're actually decent cards. They're pretty competitive. And that's a good way to learn how to play the game. So I'm going to be getting 2 of each starter deck and be doing the videos whenever those come out. Hopefully the pre-sale will let us sell the starter decks. It's already been confirmed that the starter decks both come with the 50 card deck list, or 54 card deck list, right? Because they have the Digitama in them as well, right there. And also a booster pack in it. So it's actually a pack as well. $10 for a pack and a 54 card deck list is pretty good. So in DigimonCard.dev, another cool thing I like about this website is that there's a bunch of community decks here. This is actually, it took me a while to figure this out, but check it out. There's a bunch of people who like to post their decks. There's 254 decks right now. You can't see it because my face is blocking it, but there's 254 decks right now. So all you got to do here is going to be took me a while to figure this out, but all you got to do is click on a deck, VV by Imperial Dramon Dusk Mode, all right? I click on that, and then this thing shows up here. You can click the view button, and it'll send you to a different tab. And here you can look at the deck. Now, you can close the info here because we want to make sure this is clean as possible. And now all you got to do, there's a bunch of different things you can do here. This will stats. This will show you like how many of each card is in. So this deck plays 34 Digimon, 5 Digitama, 8 Tamers, and 8 options. And here's all the different levels. These are all the stats, right? It plays a 1-of red card. This is a splashable red card, so I'm really excited about that card, right? And now you can do this. Full cards. That means that you can actually see what's going on here. You can also build decks here as well. I haven't messed around with the deck building function, but you can build decks on this website as well, and actually upload them for for people to see, which is pretty cool. Look at this Omnimon card. Look at that. Then you can right click on them, look at all their effects and things like that. Look at that. That man's handsome. That's such a handsome dude. Look at that. All 4 is Digimon. That's so cool. I'm actually super excited. I love Digimon, guys. All right. And then actually there's another mode. Let's see if I can go back to it. Oh yeah, we can go back to here, right? So let's go back to the thing. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we click on decks, and there's a tournament deck area. This is where you can look at all the good decks. Wow, there's a lot more here than I saw earlier today. I wonder why. Anyways, yeah, these are the tournament level decks. You can click on one, top 20 money feed. Sure, let's take a look at it. I'm curious. It's a green deck. Look at all these dudes. This is so cool. It's Togemon. This card is busted. It has the piercing effect, dude. So piercing is an effect in the game where if you knock out a Digimon, you can do a security check as well. So essentially you're knocking out a Digimon and you're attacking your opponent's security at the same time. And this card lets you, twice per turn, you can pay 3 memory to make this Digimon become active. And when it's active, that means you can attack again. So I don't know about you guys, but this card's pretty sick. 10,000 Digipower. It's a Mega, level 6. Pretty sick stuff. I'm excited about it. Well, there's our Rose. I haven't seen this card yet. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I hope we get no censorship in our card game, personally, because like I'm kind of liking this Rosemon. After your opponent's Digimon attacks the player or the security, if this Digimon is at rest one of your opponent's Digimon. Pretty sick. That's really strong too. Look at that. All right, cool. Anyways, I'm a fan. I'm really excited for the Digimon game. If you guys want, let me know in the comments down below. We can do stuff like deck profiles. I can get on Tabletop Simulator and play some games too. Although I kind of like don't want to do that, but at the same time I do. But I don't know if it would make good content. So it depends on if you guys want to see it or not. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am, because I am super hype for these cards, man. Oh, there's like a full art Omnimon I want you guys to see too. I wonder if I can find it. Let's try to find it. This video's going somewhere. Omnimon. Let's see if it's... Oh, look at this. Look at this card. It's gorgeous. Oh, look at it. It's so cool. And this is what I was talking about earlier. You can evolve from either a level 6 red or a level 6 blue. It's pretty sick. Destroy one of your opponent's Digimon is when Digivolve. So there's different things. You know how I talked about how you can both summon a Digimon or Digivolve a Digimon? Some effects say when summoned. This one says when Digivolve. So whenever you Digivolve into this Digimon, destroy one of your opponent's Digimon and all of your opponent's Digimon with the same name as that Digimon. And when attacking, you can return a level 6 Digimon from this card's Digivolution sources. So whatever is below this card, you can return from your hand. And if you do, this Digimon becomes active, and then it can attack again, and you can just keep doing that. Oh crap, that's crazy actually. Oh, but it has to be a level 6 Digimon, so you can only do this once really. But that's crazy, and it's 15,000, bro. Anyways, I'm gonna start fangirling if I don't stop this video soon. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you haven't already. Subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Let me know if you guys are excited, and I'll see you guys next time. Dude, I can't wait for Black Omnimon to come out, bro. It's gonna be so sick.